it's the Effin Nerd Show. We're back again on Friday. Let's say Friday, July something? What is it? What is it? July the 21st. Oh, it is hot. It is hot out there for a pimp. Oh, man. Jacob, did you watch Hustle and Flow?
I don't know.
Put the mic... Can you adjust the mic? Thank you. Okay. But, oh man, you know what? Hustle and Flow with Terrence Howard where he's like, oh, come on, man. That's where I got the main thing. Because of Terrence Howard and Hustle and Flow. I liked Hustle and Flow. So it's the Effin Nerd Show, 102.5 KUHS, Hot Springs, 102.5 FM, KUHS Hot Springs. There's a flyer here. Anytime there's a new flyer on the bulletin board, they say to try and promote it, I guess. So I'm going to do that really quick. 25th anniversary Arcan Songs and KUHS 102.5 FM dual anniversary party. 25th anniversary. There's going to be live music, a bunch of people. I like this one name called this group called Billy Rubin and the Elevated Enzymes. That's a fun name. And Bipolaroid, which is also a fun name. An exclusive screening of Jump, the Louis Jordan Story. $5 at the door for all ages. Pocket Theater. Yeah. August 10th. Thursday, August 10th. Okay, so yeah. I did all that. Effin Nerd Show. Hello, here we are. Here we're going. 25th of July or 21st of July. It's very hot. It's and there's a reason why, everybody. Barbenheimer's this weekend. Woo woo! Yeah, that's right. Everybody get your tickets for Barbie and Oppenheimer. You know, Jacob, I've been seeing so many people, even just people on my Facebook. They're going to Barbie. They're dressing in all pink. And it's like, you know, the memes come alive, basically, with the Barbie thing. But what I'm also extremely surprised about is, like, people are booking double features to Barbie and Oppenheimer, like going to one and then the other immediately. And I love that for cinema also, because that's just a fun idea. This meme has existed long ago when people were just seeing that they were going to come out on the same day, and then it's just sort of grown, and now people are going to go see both movies. It'd be funny if those are the two highest grossing movies of the summer. Maybe not Oppenheimer, but I think Barbie has potential. Even with Spider-Verse and Guardians, I think Barbie does genuinely have potential to be the highest grossing movie of the summer. Okay. Let's get into some news really quick before... I feel like I'm too loud. No. Okay. So some news. Comic book, movie news. I go there often, but that's not all the news. But point is... The last time I talked about the strike, it was the writers who were the only ones on strike. I think the actors were about to go on strike. Well, now it's both of them. Both the actors and the writers are on strike. And apparently the studios aren't budging. They're not even negotiating. They're not even pretending to come to the table to negotiate. Apparently that's what's going on right now. There was a statement released. It was an anonymous statement by a studio head that said they were going to try to wait out all the writers and the actors till they start losing their houses, and then they consider that necessary evil, and that's trash. And also, I saw one meme that was pretty funny. It was the Avengers meme of "I'm always angry," but instead it was like Captain America, and he's like, "We're gonna wait till you're broke," and then Mark Ruffalo being like, "That's my secret, Cap. I'm always broke." And that's true. You know, I shared to Jacob one of these weeks ago screenshot talking about the writer of She-Hulk only getting 300 and I don't know, less than $400 for residuals for the Daredevil She-Hulk episode, which is kind of crazy. Also, I don't know how well She-Hulk did as a show in general, but I think the Daredevil episode alone probably got a decent number of views, for sure, because people love that Daredevil. Okay, let's see here. There's a new trailer for the Marvels. I saw that as an ad this morning because I guess they're going to try to start promoting that. That doesn't come out till November. But I didn't love Captain Marvel the first one. But what I like about the Marvel's potential is it has Monica Rambeau from WandaVision and Miss Marvel from Miss Marvel. And they're gonna charisma this up a little bit, and maybe give Brie Larson more fun things to do. The trailer did look like it was shot better than some of these Quantumanias, and also it actually looked like kind of fun. I'm confused though because Sam Jackson's in it, and he's like, he was in the trailer. I shouldn't have said that maybe because you don't like to watch trailers, but yeah, Sam Jackson's in it, and it makes me wonder. Does this take place before or after Secret Invasion? The way it looked like in the trailer, just because we've been looking at Sam Jackson's face for the last 5 weeks, he looked younger. So I'm not sure, but he looked a little more spry in that movie. So I'm really curious as to what that's all about. Let's see here. There was another story trailer, and Jacob also refuses to watch this trailer. He didn't refuse to watch the Marvel trailer. I just don't think he caught it. I would not have caught it if it was not played as an ad on a YouTube video I watched literally right before coming over here this morning. It was on. I didn't feel like getting up to grab the remote to skip the ad. And also I was like, oh, well, I mean, I'll watch the trailer. Why not? And it was a good trailer. I liked it. Wasn't bad. The new Spider-Man 2 game trailer came out. I'm not going to say anything about that because to respect Jacob's wishes. He didn't tell me to say nothing about it. He just said he didn't want to watch the trailer. But I did say one word, and I'm going to repeat that one word. Haircuts. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, okay. So there's Jacob. You may be well aware. I know. I keep talking to him. And he ain't saying squat to me. Say something. Say hi or something.
Hey.
All right then. They apparently have done 3 rounds of reshoots for the Aquaman movie. The last remnant of the DCEU, and only now are they saying that only now are they coming together on a cut that seems like it might be kind of good, and also maybe probably try to. I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't care anymore, honestly, unless. Now I'm thinking about it, Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. What are they going to try and make Aquaman? We'll talk about The Flash later, but that is curious. I am curious about that. If maybe they'll try to rework it. Instead of maybe he's trying to find some lost kingdom, maybe he's trying to bring back an old world that may have been lost, or I don't know. Who gives a flip? John Boyega is in the news. He's promoting a movie called They Clone Tyrone, which I really want to see because the title's fun, and I think it has him, Jamie Foxx, and somebody else. But John Boyega changed his stance and is now open to playing Finn in a new Star Wars film. I do want to talk about this a little bit because there was a point around the Rise of Skywalker, honestly, right before the Rise of Skywalker, but leading up to it and a little bit after it, where all the actors involved seemed like they were over it, and this is not fun anymore, and the material's not being good, and the audience is acting like they suck, and they're really upset. I'm surprised John Boyega said he would be open to it. I'm hoping it's because of one of two things. Either one, they offered him more money, or two, they gave him more meat to chew on because they haven't wasted him in that stupid sequel trilogy. I'm just going to say it like that, yes. Why not? Get the clicks. What? What? Okay. I was reading this. I don't know what day it is anymore. This is essentially Kathleen Kennedy was talking about the new Star Wars movie. It's supposed to be maybe about Rey many years after The Rise of Skywalker. But the way this is quoted, it says, well, we're 15 years out from Rise of Skywalker, which made me think, there's not a goddamn chance Rise of Skywalker came out 15 years ago. And I was like having a small moment of existential crisis, and then I was realizing, oh, I guess she meant in the canon. So the new film is supposed to be taking place like at least 15 years later, after The Rise of Skywalker. And it's going to be following Rey. And I like the idea of bringing Finn back and maybe... I don't know. Well, so before, Damon Lindelof was on... Oh, we got a commercial coming up in just a minute. Now I actually have something to say, and I gotta wait. So we got a commercial coming up in 30 seconds. I'm just going to vamp until it comes on. Yeah, because I actually have a good little chunk of information that might be interesting. And then I'll get into the quote from John Boyega. Who doesn't love Star Wars? I don't. I really don't. I keep up with the news now. I've always kept up with the news, but I've never been wholly satisfied, except for Andor. Andor, the first season of Andor is the best Star Wars that exists. I'm sorry. It's true.
Yo, this is Kiefer letting you know you should tune in to Randy's Delicious Jams and Jellies every Sunday night on KUHS 102.5 FM.
What was that about? I love that, first of all, that guy was like, yo, this is your guy, Kiefer, or something like that. And then something about listening to Jams and Jellies on Sunday nights. I guess that's a show on here. Go listen to it. Anyway, so okay, my favorite show... One of my favorite shows of all time ever in the world is HBO's The Leftovers. Written and show ran by Damon Lindelof and other people. And he was attached to write a Star Wars movie. He was attached to write a Star Wars movie. Then he got fired. Because this is what happens with Star Wars all the time. They hire somebody interesting, either writer or director. They act like they're going to work with them for a long time, and then out of nowhere they just sort of drop them and just falls apart and never works. Damon Lindelof's idea that he came off of, which he was willing to actually say because he was off the project, but his idea was essentially taking it 75 years in the future, having like Helen Mirren play Rey, or some like older distinguished actress play Rey. And she, as an old woman, teaches a new generation of Jedi, and basically trying to just be like, all right, what's the further future look like? Let's get the fudge away from all the Star Wars everybody already knows about. And I kind of like that idea, sort of. I didn't love it, but I did like the idea of just running away. Like, let's go further in the future. Let's really see what's going on. But he fell off the project, but the one thing that they're keeping from that idea is the idea of Rey starting a new Jedi Order and being like the new teacher of the new Jedi. The only difference is, instead of her being like Helen Mirren age, she's going to be Daisy Ridley age 15 years later. I don't know if they're trying to be like, we're going to have the movie come out 15... No, there's not a chance. I think they're just going to pretend it's been 15 years later. I don't know if the actors played... how young they played the characters, but they could just say, oh, it's been 15 years. I don't know. So Boyega stated, at this point... Oh, wait, okay, hold on. Alright, so before... I love this. This has two quotes. So this is before. This is back in 2022. John Boyega, who played Finn, said, at this point, I'm cool off it. I'm good off it. I think Finn is at a good confirmation point where you can just enjoy him and other things, the games, the animation, but I feel like episode 7 and 9 was good for me. Oh, 7 to 9 was good for me. Then March of this year, he said, I feel like the arc that JJ tried to tie up, that's where I feel comfortable with the release of Finn. That was in March of this year. And now he said this again, I guess. That was a few years ago, so they were the subject of that particular project, but I'm open to all characters and scripts that are enjoyable, have a great cast attached, and a terrific director. So yeah, I'm open to all opportunities. Oh, man, I thought this would be more to that. But no, he's more just saying, I'll take a good job if it's a good job. I don't know if he's saying he'll necessarily come back for Star Wars. I honestly want him to do something else, something different, something. Whatever he's been doing has been pretty cool lately, post Star Wars. Okay, let's see.
He'll replace Jonathan Majors as King.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome, and I think he could get that level of intensity and also gravitas. And man, I forgot all about the Jonathan Majors thing for a second. Why'd you have to remind everybody? Now I don't know. He's probably definitely fired. I don't know. They might change it. Who knows? Maybe they'll change it to the Galactus Dynasty and just be like, F Kang. We're done with Kang. I don't know. But let's see here. Okay. So Jacob, I watched, me and Dad watched Transformers recently. I want to just talk about it. It was good. It was actually a good Transformers movie. I liked it. I was good at it. It had Jonathan Ramos Jr. Wait, I'm gonna look it up. Transformers. Rise of the Beasts. Okay. Not Jonathan Ramos. Anthony Ramos. And I also had Pete Davidson. I'm tired of seeing and hearing Pete Davidson's face and voice, but he was funny in Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I'm just doing a quick little review. Not a real review. It was good. Alright. All I can say is there were points where I was like, oh, this is the good kind of Bayhem that I'm looking for. Like, give me a little bit, but not too much, too quick, and for too long. And this one, I think this one was the perfect mix of like some Bayhem while also doing some cool, like, the humans weren't terrible. The humans were actually cool and interesting and didn't do too, like, they weren't too on the focus, but also not too under the focus. And also, towards the end, they had some really cool stuff. And maybe it's just because I haven't watched a Transformers movie since the Shia LaBeouf Transformers. Really. But it was really cool. I liked it. They basically just remade the 2007 Transformers, but then they added Beast Transformers also. Yeah. Yep, that's it. That's all I have to say about Transformers. I should have made that noise with my mouth just now. Let's see here. I keep saying that. Keep on saying it. Jacob, how you feeling about Secret Invasion right now?
It's alright.
It's alright. Is it your favorite Marvel show?
I don't know.
Is it good?
Yeah.
How good?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I wish it was... I don't know. Do you think it would have been better if there weren't other shows also? Or weren't other Marvel shows that had come out? Like, if there was only 3 shows and Secret Invasion came out, do you think it would be good or bad? Or better? Do you think it would be better?
No effect.
No effect.
I think it would have been better if I didn't have expectations for Skrull Invasion. Like, in my head, Skrull Invasion is a big deal, but if I had thought of it as a smaller deal going into the show, and if they didn't say 1 million Skrulls are living on Earth, then I would have, A, found it more believable that Nick Fury doesn't ask for help from any Avengers, and B, I would find it more believable that Nick Fury could settle the problem if I just thought of it as being a smaller scale thing. And if we look back on the show as though Skrull Invasion is not supposed to be a world-changing thing, but, just a serious political issue, it'll all, like... It'll seem okay, because I feel like right now it feels like some spectacle or suspense is missing, whereas if you thought of it as a smaller scale and softer-spoken political spy thing, then it's not a big deal of those things. That suspense is missing.
Yeah, I also agree. I do think I thought about it being a bigger thing, but also I kind of like that they're laying into it being a more spy secret thing, because it is called Secret Invasion. It is kind of funny, because if you look back at all the comic books where they'll be like, oh, it's a Secret Invasion comic book, it's usually like some Skrulls doing some crazy stuff, fighting some Avengers, and it's like, wow, was this really all that secret? It seems pretty loud and destructive. Whereas now, yeah, it's more quiet, talky, in a good way, and I do think I think the spectacle, there is some missing spectacle. My frustration is I feel like the 6th episode, I just hope it doesn't try to do too much. Because I feel like there's a way it could do, like, oh, we're going to try to give you that spectacle now. And then they don't have necessarily the money for it, and then it looks not that great. And also they leave maybe some other story stuff wanting, just so they can have that spectacle that didn't look that great for 10 minutes. Or they'll surprise us and they'll double down. Like, maybe you get a fun shootout at one point, but maybe they'll just end on a conversation, a serious conversation, then it's over.
It's possible that some of the bigger implications of the Skrull invasion come later. This could be the introduction to the idea and the knowledge that the Skrulls are living on Earth, whereas, you know, bigger deals like them impersonating more of the characters we know and maybe infiltrating the Avengers is something that could happen later.
Yeah, but that still scares me. Unless they do try, like, what if Secret Wars, like, just one of the heroes you think is maybe a nostalgia play cameo, or even one of the main Avengers at that point. Next thing you know, one of these guys was a Skrull, and maybe that somehow affects things. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have anything. Like, all the things they've done with the Marvel shows have been pretty separate now, kinda. And, you know, there's a lot of times when a Marvel show or a movie will be, like, hinting at a big bad or a big comic book source reference or whatever. And then you'll watch all these videos and I'll be like, ooh, they're hinting towards this, so I think it's going to be this. And either A, they don't do it at all, and they'll never go back to it again.
Those videos do no favors to Marvel, because it's like, Marvel has always been, like, loosely inspired by the events and characters of the comics. It never has it been, like, an adaptation, so to speak. And so every time there's a video that's like, oh, let me tell you the backstory. Like, backstory's not going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like they might just do one movie or like one episode of a show touching on something, or one line of dialogue. You're speaking to a life model decoy of Tony Stark. You know, they might do like a line that references something. They're not going to go into it. They're not going to adapt every storyline.
Or if they did, or back in the day, if they ever did go into it, it's on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to watch it. So it's like, I don't put any hope into them doing anything later. I assume, and maybe I shouldn't assume, it'd be cool if they did use some of this, but I would assume Secret Invasion ends with the show. I mean, there's still probably going to be Skrulls around, but...
the show might be establishing Gaia as a Super Skrull character from going forward.
Yeah. And she could be like a superhero Skrull, which would be cool. I like that they did the Super Skrulls. There's just minor nitpicks about, like, in my head in the comics, I'm obviously always imagining kind of like the heroes that they could use in those, which is usually like Mr. Fantastic or the Human Torch or something. So they'll like stretch their hand and flame it up and be like, "Oh, I'm a Super Skrull." But or it's like a thing, like basically, yeah. But in this, they're using the heroes that have been established, so they got like group powers and Extremis, and those are usually the only two we really see. I don't know what else there is. Probably some super strength.
The Black Order.
Black Order?
Thanos' kids.
What they have?
I don't know what they had, but those are the people they keep mentioning. Gaia listed them specifically as people that they have the DNA of.
Oh, interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. Secret Invasion, it's good. I love what Sam Jackson's doing. I love
the acting has been good.
The acting has been spectacular. And the violence. It's like so violent.
The violence. It has been sinking harsh violence in there. I think a little bit, it's like appreciating The Last of Us, where it was like, where The Last of Us didn't go into action, this show isn't going into spectacle. But the same way The Last of Us honored and respected the character and story of the game, this is like honoring the potential of the actors to just chew up a scene.
I love, and honestly, in all the Marvel shows, those are the scenes I love most, when they literally just were like, okay, we're going to set these two actors down for 10 minutes and we're going to just have them talk. Because it's like, that's kind of all the stuff that I kind of don't get from the movies, and that's the one up that the TV shows do get. They had to have, oh look, it's these two characters and they get to talk for a long time about whatever. And it's like, oh, like it takes me back to like stinking Ultimate Spider-Man, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, when if you had a specific character that matched with a different character, and they would just talk to each other and like have a whole little aside. It's like, oh, okay, well, there's history here and all this. And I love that. That, like, more of that. Like, they had a great scene. I love that Don Cheadle is in the show as much as he's in it. Because usually, especially lately, we've only sort of seen him pop in for like a scene or an episode and then leave. And he's in almost every episode this season of a show. So that's even cooler. Let's see. And I want to point out the guy who plays Talos, Ben Mendelsohn, top tier. Ben Mendelsohn, he's the best part of Captain Marvel for a lot of people, the movie. He's just about my favorite part of this show. Sam Jackson's obviously amazing, and he has a lot of great scenes, but what I loved most was that train scene with Ben Mendelsohn and Sam Jackson, and Ben Mendelsohn's breaking the news, oh, there's a million Skrulls here and all this. And, like, that whole scene is, like, man, so good.
Also him and Nick in the car on their way to stop the missile launch. He's just going on a rant about how, like, we did all the work for you. You got where you are because of us. Mm-hmm. That was great. And it ended funny, where he was like, I don't remember. They were like, yeah, we're here. Let's go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, that's so good. And it kind of reminded me of True Detective, that one little car scene, just because it was a car scene. But I was thinking I was gonna do that, like, one of them says a long thing, and then the other one gets to just really comment on that, or just say you're weird and crazy. But no, instead it's like, all right, we're here. Let's get out and go and do the work.
Yeah, he's like, you went on your little rant. We did that. Let's go.
Yeah, I love that. It's good. Also too expensive. Everything's too expensive.
I'm surprised at how expensive it is, given, again, that there isn't a lot of spectacle going on. That It is mostly just two people talking at any given point in time.
They said it was $250 million.
It could be that there is just some big expensive thing at the end.
I would not be surprised, because that's how all the men. Stinking Moon Knight ends with like a kaiju fight.
Yeah. I'd forgotten Moon Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's pretty good.
Moon Knight's great. The worst episode's the last episode, because it's just a kaiju fight. But even then, that's kind of cool, because it's like a Egyptian kaiju fight. But
maybe Marvel will kind of figure out the balance they're going for, because there has consistently been a thing where it's like at the end they're like, well, now there's got to be some big thing. And it's like, well, that's how we do our movies. And it's like, maybe you had to pace it out differently for the shows.
And not only that, though, not only are they like, we got to do some big thing, but they'll drop some story threads for the sake of, let's do the big thing. And that leaves a lot of people being like, okay, I mean, it's cool and all, but what about this, and this? Like, how about instead of giving us one big, crazy, bombastic CGI fest episode, give us 3 more episodes where you actually resolve all the storylines in a satisfying and complete way instead of rushing everything. My grief with Secret Invasion is there's a point early on. There's like a point where Gravik, the main villain or whatever, the main Super Skrull, is like killing mostly at first killing he kills some Skrulls, but in those specific moments earlier on, you're like, maybe that's just how it has to go, I guess, in this society. But then at a certain point, I feel like he's like, all right, F all these Skrulls. I don't need these guys. And he was kind of like that before they attacked him, like try to maul him down, like gang fight him. But before that, he was just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna kill this guy, and I don't care. All of you better listen to me." It's like, God dang it!
That was great. It was done very well.
You think so?
It was exactly the kind of thing I would have complained about, and I was watching the normies react to it, and they did complain about it. They're like, "You're killing your own people. They're not going to have good morale. They're going to think you're an a-hole," and then they tried to kill him. So it was like, yeah, no, they did.
You're right.
Any other movie, what would have happened was they would have had him kill his own people to look tough and scary. And
that one guy,
there would have been no real consequence amongst his people for that. Whereas in this, they put a bag over his head and tried to beat him to death.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is great. That's real.
That part was cool.
As long as you get the consequence to killing your own people, because it's too much of a trope of an evil leader to kill their own people. Like, I am so evil.
And then everybody just follows them anyway.
As long as you get the consequence, which is your people trying to overthrow you, I'm fine with it.
Really? But then they still just do. I mean, I guess
because he killed them.
Yeah.
They tried to beat him to death, and they lost their fight, and he slit the throat. And his people are like, "Oh, so if we rise up, he might kill us. They might still try again, or maybe they won't be out of fear. But either way, I'll believe it. If they try again because he's a monster, I'll believe it. And if they don't because he's a monster, I'll believe it."
Fair. Yeah, I did like when they not mutiny.
It is. I mean, I think mutiny works. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's the word that works.
Treason.
Yeah, I'm trying to find like a specific word, like more like brawler. Like they jumped him, but sucker punched him. No, not. I don't know. Some gangster. Like they sinking. I liked it though.
That was great. I just loved that. I loved getting that.
Yeah, because it like. At first, I was thinking it was going to be like a slower, more methodical, like that one guy was going to try to convince some people maybe, or maybe he was just going to do this by himself and try to attack him. But no, he's like, bag over head, get him on the table, 6 of you, come over here and punch him in the stinging chest. It's like, oh my god, and that was a good fight.
And he's screaming when he knocks the last guy out of the room, comes out going, "Who wants it?" Like he's like, "Come on."
Shaq? Yeah, that was actually cool.
That showed that him killing his own people, it wasn't just some flavor thing. They were dedicated to the idea that, like, he can't even trust his own people because they don't trust him because it's a volatile relationship going on, a volatile leadership.
And that's one thing I do love the most about... I thought we weren't going to say much about it, but now I do have a little bit more. What I love about it, he can't trust... Like, the idea of nobody in this Effin show can trust anybody ever.
They've committed to that pretty well.
Yeah, and it's a great constant theme, and they keep you guessing all the time. Like, there's a point when Nick Fury and his wife have a gun, and you're like, are they going to kill each other?
I was going to say that Nick Fury's relationship with his wife has played into that theme pretty well. Because, every scene with them together has felt like it played well into what the show was going for and into who Nick has been for as long as we've known him. Mm-hmm. Where their relationship is like, it's not as tender. It's not like a tender romance. There's this professional-ism to it, and when they both held a gun to each other, you thought, yeah, either one of them could shoot the other.
I would have believed it also if for some reason they just killed each other then.
That scene was great because either one of them could have shot the other, or either one of them could have refused. And when they both refused, they both seemed like pleasantly surprised. Yes. Like even they went into that conversation thinking, like my spouse might try to kill me, and it was like a sign of their genuine feelings for each other and their respect for each other that neither of them tried to sneak up on the other. Mm-hmm. They were like, no, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk, we're going to hold a gun to each other, and then we're going to find out what our priorities are. And that was great. Yes. Like that is the most vulnerable I would expect to see Nick Fury, and so it was cool to see that, and that was great.
Yes, I love that whole dynamic. I like it's kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith in a way. It's like I just love, like, there's a point where he's like, "Are you the biggest mistake I ever made in my life?"
Yes, that's great.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to give Secret Invasion a little bit more credit though. Like each show, what they've done, especially with the anytime there's an established character, they're really kind of like magnifying on their character, what the other characters around them think of them, and like if they're a good person or not, kind of. And same deal mainly with Nick. It's like a lot of his friends don't like him, and it's like, god dang. But he's willing to take that on, which is also really cool.
Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was really good about that for Bucky, because Bucky has always been rife for some good character work, but has gotten like maybe one line of dialogue in a movie whenever he's in it, and it's crazy because he's in every Captain America movie, and never gets to be a real major character.
He's just He's the MacGuffin for Captain America movies.
Always, and doesn't ever get to really. And so that show is the first time that he had to really be a character, and he is rife for character work.
I know, it's like, I love that they are doing a Captain America 4, but I'm kind of just like, can we get a Falcon Winter Soldier season 2 though?
You know what? It would almost be more fair if they didn't do a Captain America 4 and instead they did a Winter Soldier movie, and Captain America is in the Winter Soldier movie, what Winter Soldier has always been in the Captain America movies.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
That would have been like fair. That would have been like my time.
Yeah, it would have been more fair. Also, you still have Captain America, still have Anthony Mackie as Captain America in it, and they're just like, all right, we're doing one of your missions now. Yeah. We're going to figure something about your past that you want to redeem or something. And you're right, they really do. That's what, yeah, exactly. And even WandaVision does it too with Wanda, and even Vision to an extent.
You know, it's interesting, I wonder lore-wise, how the existence of Skrulls and the existence of Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D., with the relationship there. Because presumably Hydra had no idea the Skrulls existed. Because Nick Fury seemed to have kept that a super tight-lipped secret, and they're Skrulls. They're hard to find. So, like, you know, and the Skrulls didn't show up until, like, what, the 80s?
The 90s.
Right. So yeah, obviously, you know, it's not like they were there the entire time, like Hydra was.
Yeah, Hydra's there.
And Nick dealt with them directly. So it's very possible that while Nick knew about the Skrulls being his operatives on Earth, the Hydra never knew about it. But then it's like, how does Nick Fury never find out about Hydra when he has people who can take on anyone's face? Who is Hydra going to keep secrets when they're talking to Skrulls and they don't even know it?
Unless some of the Skrulls were also Hydra.
That would be crazy.
That would be awesome.
That would be insane if some of the Skrulls working for Nick Fury specifically find out Hydra's there and they join Hydra.
Yeah, and they don't tell anybody.
Yeah, they don't tell the other Skrulls that are for Nick. They don't tell Nick. It's like, what the heck?
That'd be awesome.
God dang.
Man, that's a movie. That's like, there's a show called The Americans just about like these sleeper cell Russian spies in America, and they're like, I mean, you know, it's called The Americans, but they're not really. They're like spies. But some basically like that, but with a Skrull who was also a Nazi, like or Hydra. They like to make the distinction that Hydra weren't the Nazis.
They're just for the Nazis.
but they're still not. I mean, I feel like they're just as bad if you're teaming up with the Nazis. Yes. But yeah, Secret Invasion. Good. In fact, I liked it more just talking about it now than I was thinking back about it. Maybe it's because we watch it once a week.
None of the Marvel shows have been bad, okay?
None of them have been bad.
She-Hulk was the worst, but none of them have been bad.
Even if She-Hulk was the worst, I feel like that one had the potential, and still does. They need to put that out on ABC weekly. I feel like, I'm serious, but I'm saying that show has the potential to be like...
I'd rather the quality change a bit to be something that stands out from an ABC show.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I agree and I disagree. One hand, it could be better, but on the other hand, I feel like the formula and just the way it's packaged fits perfectly for... It's like a new girlish show. And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. You can complain about...
It's bad that it chooses to have so much content in it that the writers have no feelings for. They have no feelings for law, and yet they choose to fill the show with law. And they have no feelings for fights between the main character and some enemy, but they choose to fill the show with that.
Yeah, I do wish there was a little bit more law stuff. Like,
if you're gonna do law, do it like in a way that's entertaining and good.
Well, he did some of that with like Mr. Miracle, or wait, was that his name? The guy who kept killing himself with all those wives. That was a fun idea. Also, the Daredevil episode with Leapfrog, pretty good.
Daredevil episode doesn't count because that's Daredevil in it.
But they also have Leapfrog in it, which I feel like...
Yes, Leapfrog was great, but he's in the Daredevil episode. And the entire episode doesn't count because it was the only episode where they tried to do anything.
I don't agree with you. There are some stuff in the early She-Hulk episodes I do like a lot. I agree. Like, the finale is fun when you're watching it for the first time, but it turns... literally like 80% of the stuff you just watch into air. Like it floated away.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%, 100%. The ending decided the show was pointless. The ending decided none of this mattered. You shouldn't have watched this show.
Yeah, so it's like...
But yeah, just none of the content in that show were they like, we're passionate about doing this, we're going to do this really well. It was like, we got to put this in here, we got to put this in here.
Commercial coming up in less than a minute, but the biggest issue is, like, again, too expensive. If they spent a little less money, found a way to do a She-Hulk without having a CGI up that much,
she's in Hulk form most of the time without needing to be.
And they even wrote it into where she could change back and forth, so it's like, do less of the Hulk thing.
It's funny how they don't show her transform, and I don't know if they made a joke about how, like, that's more expensive somehow. They don't like showing people transform processing.
They did once.
They just like to show regular and then Hulk form. How's that more expensive? I don't get it.
So it's more expensive to show the transition of, first of all, those are the stuff I love to see the most, is seeing, like, from normal human to the Hulk person. The problem is, there's probably like 6 different shots they have to stitch together just to have that transition. That's one thing. So it takes a lot of time to do. Also, they have to make it look good. Like, they could do it. I don't know if it would look good, though. Whereas you could just have someone working on a scene of She-Hulk doing something for weeks and weeks and weeks and just cut to it. And that's just cheaper. So that's why that's cheaper. But yeah, the Marvel shows. And that's another thing, though. I think the Marvel shows are more made for people to just pick up their favorite. Like, oh, you like Falcon and Winter Soldier? Just watch that. You interested in the idea of a Moon Knight? Just watch that.
I mean, I don't know. No, I disagree.
Why?
It can't be. Because Falcon and Winter Soldier weren't main characters. Wanda and Vision never got to be main characters. Loki was never a main character. Well, I mean, he's a villain. He was a big character, but he was never a protagonist before. Moon Knight didn't exist. Werewolf by Night didn't exist. Miss Marvel didn't exist. She-Hulk didn't exist. So
they didn't exist, but a lot of them were made...
Hawkeye was always a sidelined character. So none of them were like, oh, you're going to follow your favorite. It was, okay, we're going to make this guy your favorite every time.
Well, yeah. Make this guy your favorite. But also, since it was dealing with people that were in the movies, giving people a chance to,
Make him your favorite. Make him your favorite.
Also, but I'm saying a lot of them have different tones. Well, they all do.
Yeah.
Different tones and different... So, like, I could definitely see somebody watching She-Hulk and then being like, I like She-Hulk because of the new girly tone, but not wanting to watch any other shows because of that.
Okay, and see, with like... The Falcon and Winter Soldier is the only one where you could have guessed what the tone would be like based on the movies that the characters were in previously, because they were in Captain America movies, so you might have thought, oh, it'll feel spy thrillery, and you would have been basically right. That's what it is. Whereas WandaVision, you have there's no pretense for what Wanda and Vision together looks like, except for one scene in Infinity War, and it doesn't feel like that at all. So it's something else. It's something completely different. And Loki, it's not like it's not like Thor.
I disagree with Loki. Yeah, it's not like Thor, but Loki was a fan favorite.
Okay.
Obviously, people were going for Loki.
Okay, but yeah, you wouldn't have guessed what the tone of Loki was going to be based only on what he was in before. Only Falcon and Winter Soldier could you have guessed. So it's not like, oh, I know what flavors of Marvel I like, and I know what I'll get. You couldn't have known what you would get in Moon Knight.
But I'm saying for, like, general, like, people who don't know as much, also. It's like, people are like, I like... But my problem is, they're not promoting them in such a way either, though. They're not showing Moon Knight as, like, ooh, look at this, like, psychological, I don't even know what you call it, adventure movie? Kind of?
I'm not sure.
Because it's a lot of heady, like, sandy stuff, but also they go across the world.
Yeah.
Tombs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it commits to keeping you confused about where mental illness ends and fantasy begins. I don't know what to call that, though.
Yeah, I don't either, but I like it. Moon Knight, I hope they don't give up on Moon Knight.
It's like what Legion was doing, but they didn't decide to drown you and strangle you in it.
Yeah, sometimes people love Legion.
I needed more cues from what was real in Legion, and they weren't given. And I could not keep watching that show with how dedicated they were to confusion. I couldn't.
I remember watching Grandpa watching an episode one time when we were staying with him for one time. I was like, if I don't understand what the
Good
fuck
luck.
is going on, there's not a chance you know what's going on. But I still want, I do want to give it another chance, because also I feel like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know though. There are scenes in that show I'm like, this didn't happen, did it? Did it happen? I don't know. But Legion seemed so cool. I wanted to be like a cool person that liked Legion, but I couldn't understand it. I don't know. But yeah. I'm trying to think of all the other shows. We need to finish Miss Marvel.
From the Marvels, yeah.
Yeah, for the Marvels, and just because Miss Marvel is still my favorite one, and Miss Marvel is closer to what I wish the other shows would do a little bit more of, but more delicately. Like I told you before, there's an episode of Miss Marvel that is incomprehensibly bad. It's like, I know what you're trying to do, but the way you're doing it sucks right now. And then the last episode, it's better than a lot of the other finale episodes of shows, but the CGI is atrocious and terrible. So it's like, but still though, it does, what Miss Marvel does really well is it leans extra hard in their cast, in their little group of characters there. And while the other shows do that, they throw everything away on the finale or whatever, for the most part. Whereas Miss Marvel goes back to that. It's like, alright, here's your stupid little CGI fight, alright, goodbye, and then goes back to the family stuff and wraps that stuff up in a good way. So yeah. And she's the only reason I even give a flip about the Marvels. Her and Monica Rambeau. It's like I don't want to trash on Brie Larson, because she is a good actress. She can be fun.
She's in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. I just feel like she's having a hard time as Captain Marvel.
They've given her no time as Captain Marvel. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
She hasn't had a chance to be Captain Marvel, except
Not
one.
really.
Like one time, not even.
Yeah. So
I feel like they've been so like careful stepping, letting Brie Larson be Captain Marvel, because they're like, we're gonna get a lot of poop, and they did. And I don't think any of it was deserved. Not even a little bit. I'll go as far as to say, people,
none of it was deserved.
Like
no.
the first Captain Marvel movie, people will remember it and they will talk about it as if it was so in your face. Captain Marvel, it's not. It isn't.
It is that with the Air Force in the movie, though.
No, it isn't.
A little bit, though.
What do you mean?
The way it shoots the Air Force scenes was kind of like,
there's
okay.
but there isn't an Air Force scene exactly. First
Scenes.
of all, there aren't Air Force scenes.
Anytime
exactly.
she steps out to the tarmac it's like
literally that is what those are shots. Yes, there are shots in which she steps onto a tarmac.
Yeah, but it's shot like an effing recruiter commercial.
Well, I'm saying shots. There are no Air Force scenes in the movie.
Oh, okay, I guess I get you.
There, you have shots. You have a guy being like, where they call it a cockpit, right? And then you've got her doing a test flight for that one lady who's actually an alien. There are no Air Force scenes in the movie.
Maybe that's another issue that people attack Captain Marvel for and Brie Larson for. Like, Captain Marvel does a whole lot of the misogyny thing.
It doesn't even do a lot of that. Captain Marvel does not do a lot of that.
Well, it does. I'm not saying it does a lot. I'm saying it does a lot for the people that hate on it. Like, I would not say 2 or 3 things that are realistically inserted in the movie that people experience or whatever is ridiculous.
Technically, I'll even go as far as to say, there's none of it that's like set in stone. That's actually like, even that line I said there where the guy's like, why they call it a cockpit, right? It could very well have been. It'd be like, well, you see, in 1934 they had a plane and it could. You don't know, right? And the other thing people say is like, and it's only ever symbolic, really, of misogyny you're supposed to be, is Jude Law's relationship with Brie Larson, where he's always telling her to keep her emotions in check. Yeah. But also, he's a military leader. So, again, you have to be choosing, this is supposed to tell me misogynists are bad, to say that it's what it means. There's the context. It makes it ambiguous. It could be something else. He is a military leader telling someone, like, oh, you're very good fighting. Just keep your emotions in check, which you would tell anybody.
That's true. That's true.
There's no content in there that it's like, oh, this is just bragging up, hitting on misogyny.
I mean, you're not telling me. You're telling the stupid people. But I do think because of that sort of stuff, that got Brie Larson some unnecessary hate.
Oh yeah, very much a ton of unnecessary
And then,
complaint.
But I do also think because of some of that unnecessary hate, the way she now has to interact online does
right. She's like
it feels like forced or safe or
she has to posture online because she knows what she's gonna get. Another thing is I'm seeing someone talk about Endgame and they were like, man, why is she such a B word in it? Because in the beginning,
I think she's great in it. I love her more in Endgame.
In the beginning, she was like, I'm gonna go kill Thanos, and people were like, why is she being so rude? What?
Thanos just sets up the entire universe.
There's so much things in the context that make that such an invalid interpretation. First of all, for all she knows, she can kill Thanos, and
she probably could.
She could in the moment. She could. None of them know that for sure. But for as far as she knows, she can. She could just kill him. And second, what the Captain Marvel movie and her role in Endgame have done so well to say about her character is that she is such a team player. 100%. And people pretend, they take that line and be like, oh, she's all like Rambo on her own. Never has she been. All they say to her in that scene is, well, could you let us come? Like, literally, all they say is, we want to be there. And what would we see in the very next scene? She's reporting to Captain America, being like, yeah, Thanos is alone, vulnerable, I could easily kill him, figured I'd let you know. What do you want to do? Like, and in Captain Marvel, they make it clear that she can handle everything on her own. Like, Nick's picking a lock and she shoots it off, but she lets him do it. And he's like, why you let me do it? He's like, oh, because you wanted to. It's like, she doesn't need them around at all. And you could complain about that in the movie, like, oh, she has all these sidekicks she doesn't need. But the fact is, she likes working as a team with people.
Yeah, I get that.
That she doesn't need.
I get it. But that's also a Superman-y thing, probably. But also, but here's the thing. I think Superman would and I'm comparing you to Superman because I think they have the similar issues of being overpowered. It's like, if you could do it, just do it. I mean, but yeah, you're right. When she is like, I'm going to go kill Thanos, they're like, can we come? And she's like, yeah, come on. But she could have just gone and done.
Yeah, and she let Captain America call the shots even.
Yeah, because he's captain. He was.
Shoshi!
Oh, yeah, but different team. I don't know.
Both captains.
She's captain of the Space Force. I don't know.
Bigger captain.
Probably, yes. Most definitely. But yeah. I mean, look, like we said, unnecessary hate. I don't love Captain Marvel more because the movie, just some structure. It's really literally just structurally effed up. But even then, it's not that bad, and I even appreciate some of the shifts they try. Like, I get the idea of what they were trying to do, and if it was done a little less clunkily, it could have been even really good. But it doesn't quite get there for me. And also, it came out at a stupid time. They honestly should have just... I don't know if they could have just not done the movie.
And people complain about the montage in the movie where it's showing her from being a little kid, being told like that she can't do something and then trying anyway, and be like, "Ugh, girl power." Like that? No, that's just power. You could do that with a boy or a girl. Show that from a young age. Every time they fail, they try again, and it's a testament to character.
I actually love that part. I love it.
Yeah, it's a testament to character, no matter, regardless of gender. It's not a thing. It's not a woman power thing. I
actually even love the little part where it's like, she falls down and then she gets up and it like cuts between all those times she had to get up. I like that part. I'm a sucker for, let's see the superhero when they were a kid and how they got effed up in some way. We gotta get on to the Flash, fella. We gotta give a little bit of time to it. I'm not gonna do this.
Wow.
Fine, I'll do it. Alright. We're gonna get to the Flash here in a minute.
Broadly, Marvel's shows on Disney Plus have been a B+ success in my book.
B+ success. I do think they shouldn't have come out as fast, but now I'm kind of like, when are we going to get to see continuations of some of these characters again if they don't come out again? They come out really fast. Yeah.
The people felt there was a deep oversaturation of Marvel content for a while, and that's fair. I feel like with Disney Plus, a lot of it was like, it's an experiment. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know how things were going to work. And I think
COVID happened, which expedited everything.
Yeah. There was a lot of shaky ground they had to dance on, and it was like, you did okay.
And in theory, having all those Marvel shows, I think, is a good idea. I don't think they should have had the same output of movies, though. They probably should have... You could maybe keep all the shows and keep them... Because it's TV anyway. But they should have slowed down on the movies. Don't put out... Like, there's Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals. Those 3 came out in 1 year. Like, maybe when there's 2 shows going on, or 3 shows in 1 year, 1 movie. If there's 2 shows or 1 show, maybe then you could go 1 or 2 movies more, or whatever. I think that's how they should be doing it.
And one of the problems of having so many characters, though, is if you pick a reasonable rate of releasing stuff, you're not going to see some characters for a long time. But you're going to have big... It's going to be the Game of Thrones, where you go a whole season without Bran.
Yeah. And that's why I've been appreciating with how the shows have been structured. Like, we see Wong show up and appear peppered throughout.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, a little bit... Like, I'm not saying do that with every character, but that's one thing that's, like, keeping a through line that is traceable. Like, you know where Wong was at one point to another point to the next point.
See, if Wong dies in Doctor Strange 3, you can't say you didn't get enough Wong.
Exactly.
He was in Shang-Chi a little bit. He was in She-Hulk.
Oh, man, I even forgot. Yeah, and he was in She-Hulk. I love that. I love it. And I love it, like, they've trained the audience now. When Wong shows up, it's like, Wong!
Yeah.
Yeah! I love Wong. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, what?
What?
What are you gonna say?
It's freaking crazy that She-Hulk kept saying, like, oh, this is my show, okay? You're not gonna get a bunch of cameos. You get a bunch of cameos.
There were a bunch of cameos. I even liked what they did with Blumsky and She-Hulk.
Oh, yeah. Tim Roth, he was great.
Great. Man.
They were like, you're gonna, like, play this character, but, like, we don't remember who he was. Just be somebody. We don't remember. You don't remember. It's okay. Just be someone.
Even though you don't like She-Hulk that much, I like the tone. Like, the tone of it, I really do enjoy.
I don't think it has tonal issues. It just has writing issues.
Yeah, story issues.
Story issues.
But also, I feel like She-Hulk... Because they even made a joke in the final episode being like, could you transform back to a human so we could save money and have people on another project?
It's funny.
I think that's literally true.
All right, but that was funny. I've always said, like, it's like with Deadpool, like, any sort of production limitation you have, you could just make it a joke, and it becomes, okay, that's funny. Like when the studio couldn't afford another X-Men, like, yeah, and it works. It's not just
sometimes.
It's not just you're making excuses. It's like, no, that is actually kind of funny, especially if it's something you didn't need. Like, we didn't need to see her as She-Hulk in that scene anyway, so it didn't matter.
True.
So it was like, you're saving money, but also it doesn't matter,
yeah.
And you made it a joke, so that's fun. And then, like, in Deadpool, it was the Deadpool movie. It didn't need to have all the X-Men in it anyway. So, and then in the second one where they show them, it was like, okay, that's just funny.
I want to rewatch both Deadpool movies. I want to rewatch... In my mind, there's already a Deadpool trilogy.
Yeah, I've seen a few Deadpool 2 reactions, and I'm like, Deadpool 2 didn't quite get the rap it deserved, because it's...
But that's because I think the theatrical cut is significantly... Not bad. It's not bad. But I do think it is, for me, a whole letter grade lower.
Right, a bit neutered.
Yeah, whereas the Super Duper cut takes... First of all, they make way more MCU references in Super Duper cut, which now effortlessly, seamlessly goes into what's going on now. That's one thing. But also, they just sort of... They play with it a little bit more. It's like they did extra stuff. They're like, okay, all right, we're putting the movie out. Now let's take it back and put a couple more things in there. And they really kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. And I think Super Duper Cut is way better than...
Yeah, we gotta talk about Flash, you said.
Yes, we gotta get to Flash. Alright, I just turned this off. Hold on, let me turn it back on. Or it fell asleep. Alright, I'm gonna see if that'll work. Okay! Well, we're talking about the Flash! Alright, the Flash. Jacob, what you think about it?
It's okay. It's okay. It's kind of good.
Was it worth all the rigmarole?
I don't know what you mean at all. Because you chose not to use an English word, I have no idea what you wanted me to...
So the Flash, with Ezra Miller, was delayed for many years because of the things going on with DC and trying to shift things around and all this stuff. And somehow, for some reason, they thought putting it now would be a good time as any. I don't know. Was it worth the wait? all the time?
I wasn't waiting.
You weren't,
so
you weren't waiting.
So I can't say.
You didn't care. I didn't care to see it full price, basically. That was my whole thing. I didn't want to see it full price. And we finally saw it. I feel like I don't know where to begin with it.
It's one of the only is it DCEU? Who knows? It's one of the only DCEU movies trying to have fun, so it gets points for that. A lot of points for that.
Yeah, it has lots
for
of fun.
Trying to be a fun movie to watch. As we said about Shazam, it was like, yeah, like your only time you're trying to be fun here and heartfelt was Shazam, and now Flash has some of both of that. And it's like, thank you.
Also, Aquaman is fun.
The movie?
Yeah.
I don't remember it very well.
Me and Chico watched it on the old projector, and I had it covered in the whole wall. That movie is actually a lot of fun. It's not that great. Like, as a whole movie, it's not that great. But there are whole section scenes that are like, whoa, this is pretty good. But, yeah, so The Flash was fun. Ezra Miller was great as Barry Allen. But also Ezra Miller's never going to work again. So...
And this is spoilery, fine.
Yeah, spoilers, fine. Yeah, it's a spoiler.
Yeah, Ezra Miller was pretty good. I didn't think there was anything, like, super standout. Like, there wasn't, like, a scene where it's like, oh, my God.
No.
But generally speaking, yeah, good acting.
And having to do two roles at once is never easy. Trying to act with yourself is hard. That's all I can really say about Ezra Miller's performance.
It's weird because the second Barry is supposed to be annoying and is only just a little too much to me.
Just the right amount of too much for me.
Real life Ezra Miller was that character. And it was a little too far.
Yeah, I didn't like... Well, so for some people, the young Barry was an issue. They were like, I don't give a flip. But there was a point, again, spoilers, there's a point when young Barry finally got stabbed at the end. I gasped, and I was like, no!
Yeah.
Because I didn't want him to die.
Yeah, once you no longer had everything resting on young Barry's shoulders, because Barry got his powers back, that's when it was like, okay, now you're a fun sidekick.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're a fun sidekick. When everything's like, you're not taking this enough seriously, and you're not willing to do anything.
And because you'd already had the scene where they both finally had a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
And because young Barry made his own costume, and it was like, okay, fun sidekick. Now we're good.
Yes. I like that. I like that older Barry. Because, like, complaints from the Justice League, both versions, is that Barry's annoying. And especially he talks too fast. About nothing. He'll say 1,000 words about, like, what's brunch? Shut the fudge up, Barry. And then there's, like, one shot when young Barry says something along those lines. It's something so, like, benign, stupid, and fast and stupid.
Barry's like, slow down.
But he's like, he just has his hands on his face, and he's just you can see the pink in his eyelids, and he's just, like, excruciatingly annoyed. It's like, it's weird, because it's like, you're seeing him, like, it's like a genuine face of, I'm annoyed with this person. But also...
Like, this is what people have been talking about.
But, exactly, literally. It's like, now I get to see what I've been doing to people for all this time. And I also think that, because of that, it makes current Barry less annoying.
Yeah, current Barry is generally more serious.
Yeah, he's more mature.
And genuine.
Yeah.
Rather than being, like, written to be ironic in any way. Most of the time, at least. So, yeah. So yeah, having young Barry there makes older Barry better.
Yeah. But now that makes me wonder if I don't know, if older Barry if it's just old Barry the whole time, do you think he could have been annoying? Maybe a little.
I don't know. Maybe the writers would have been like, we need to have an outlet. Okay, we either have young Barry or Barry stays the same.
How did you feel about the baby thing? This was a big contention with some people.
It wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was kind of funny.
It was funny.
It was funny that it cut to show, like, oh, every baby's gonna die. All of them.
I loved it also because it's like, because it had the woman nurse, the nurse or doctor, I don't know.
The woman nurse.
The woman. Well, I think that's fine.
No, it doesn't matter.
Male nurses.
It was whatever.
But just seeing her stare, like, they're all gonna die, her and the babies, but she's gonna die last in that scenario, and her just crying with extreme fear, like, no!
They're like a bunch of knives about to hit a baby. It's like, what are the knives doing there?
Yeah, why are there scalpels in this room?
Why is there a microwave and knives and scalpels in the nursery?
There's also, like, I guess an oxygen tank is
in the nursery.
Yeah, that was funny. And, like, I loved it because it's like, look at all these babies about to die, and then Ezra Miller, the Flash, he's just like, I'm going to go get the vending machine and eat the food first, and then I'll save them. But I love and hated, and I've seen people trashing about this also, how he moves fast. Like, the world kind of just moves around him, and it's more like a teleport. Like, he's basically teleporting in a way.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's always. I think that's pretty much how Flash's speed works. Like, there's such a thing as speed where it feels like super strength. So you're pushing the ground and you're propelling yourself so hard that you're moving fast. And then there's super speed where it's just like you're running, sure, but really super speed is something else that happens around you as you run normally. Like, if most speedsters the other way, they're just super strong. But usually you don't want speedsters to be super strong for some reason. Instead, you just want to say they're somehow super fast without being any stronger than a regular person.
Yeah. And also, I just wish they could have, like, The Flash, the TV show, which I also want to compare this to, because it does everything in this movie better. On a TV show budget, by the way. So whatever millions of dollars they spent on the movie was already done once.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny. If you were... Well, okay. I was going to say CGI. The CGI in Arrowverse has always been abysmal, but it's a show and nobody cares.
Yeah, and when it's good, like, they save their money for the Grodd. Like, every time there's a Grodd episode...
I mean, even then, it's not great.
It's not great, but it's good for TV.
There you go. Okay, sure.
Especially at that time.
Sometimes it's so bad that it has become famous for being bad.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking about really was the suit. I was like, okay, the suit is consistently better in the show than the movie.
Yes, and with the show, the worse the show gets, the better the suit gets. So
yeah. You could show me the suit from the Flash movie in real life, and I would still think I was looking at CGI.
I've seen, but yeah.
That's how bad it is. It's not bad CGI, it's bad reality.
Also, I think Ezra Miller's, or maybe just the way they have the suit put on on their body.
Weird.
Big head.
It's weird.
Big head, skinny neck.
It's such a weird, bad suit. What the heck were they thinking about the suit?
I guess trying to make the Flash look slim, aerodynamic, I guess, is what they're going for.
I mean, they failed.
They did.
The suit's clunky.
So yeah, the show did. I mean, every even the season 1.
Every show suit is better than the suit.
Yeah.
And the show has a range of quality suits.
Why couldn't they just grab one of Grant Gustin's old suits?
Because if they did, they would have accidentally pulled Grant Gustin in too, because he wouldn't take it off, and then they would have had Grant Gustin what I want.
Also, it's so stupid how much money they would spend on those CG cameos when they could have just gotten 2 Flash TV actors for probably a fraction of that price.
Listen. They made 2 Ezra Millers work. Okay, it wasn't terrible. It was good. They were able to do some good things with the character. But why couldn't it have been Ezra Miller meets Grant Gustin? What? Grant Gustin's the Flash in this universe?
They met already.
Everyone else has been exchanged. You can exchange Batman for Michael Keaton or George Clooney, but you can't do
the main character.
You can't have thinking Barry Allen, Ezra Miller show up and be like, Grant Gustin, you're the Flash in this universe? You were an actor in my universe.
Wow. Well, they met already in the show.
Grant Gustin and Ezra Miller meeting in the show was a cool thing to do. It was a thing of respect going both ways, and it begs the question that has always been there of like why Warner Brothers doesn't just try to do more fun things with crossover and cameo when they just can. Like, they can do whatever they want, and they just go, well, we don't really want to.
Yeah, it's funny. And continue to remind, it's like, they could have had Justice League in the 90s if they wanted.
Yep.
They could have had it in the 80s if they wanted. They could have had it any year before Marvel started their whole project, they could have a Justice League movie. They didn't. They could have. Why? I love like it is. I'm still like they resurrected 2, maybe 3 dead people.
Yeah.
For the CGI end of the Flash, and they got a Nicolas Cage reference that a fraction of the audiences are going to understand, let alone appreciate.
Dang.
What else was there?
Nothing. Nick Cage Superman fighting a giant spider was like, so alright, so Kevin Smith and I get to enjoy this joke?
Yeah, literally.
Me and Kevin Smith get to enjoy this joke? Why'd you put it in here?
And you know what's worse? The director said they got Nicolas Cage there. They had him there.
Why couldn't he have been I mean, like, I thought should I say Supergirl or Superwoman? I don't know.
Whichever.
I mean, she's just awesome.
Yeah.
She's just awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't want to ever say like, oh, don't put her in the movie. She's awesome. But why couldn't? But wouldn't like Nick Cage's Superman have been a wackier and insaner choice for the Superman role in the movie?
Oh.
If they showed up and like, we gotta say Clark Kent,
now,
and it's Nick Cage.
If it was Nick Cage and Michael Keaton teaming
up.
Oh
My god! And imagine Ezra Miller's like, that's Nick Cage.
Now,
that's Nick Cage.
That would be awesome.
Nick Cage is Superman in your universe?
Wait a minute. That would be...
Okay.
It's Nicolas
Cage. It crosses a line for any multiverse thing to point out an actor's existence. It crosses a line. But if you were gonna cross the line for anyone, it'd have been Nick Cage.
Especially for this it's a multiverse. It can be Nick Cage.
And it's the stupid Flash multiverse. It's not gonna matter in a few years.
Exactly. That's the problem. It's like they spent so long.
Oh my god.
They spent so long trying to, I guess, for their brains, make this movie perfect and make sense. Where they could have just thrown half of it in the trash and just went, let's just go nuts.
Yeah, 100%. This should have been your movie that was just fun, and it is fun, which is different from all the other DC movies except for Shazam. So they did in some part get that spirit, but yeah, they could have had even more fun with it. Oh my god, the idea of Ezra Miller going, that's Nicolas Cage. I would have loved to see that.
What, you're gonna tell me an actor is Superman?
Oh my god.
The actor? Superman?
If there's one actor you're going to acknowledge, no, that he's just an actor in real life, Nicolas Cage would have been it.
And just the idea of like all the CGI cameos look like, all the CGI in the movie period looks like garbage for like 99% of the movie.
Yeah.
They had Nicolas Cage there. They supposedly put him in that Superman suit, but then they CGI'd up his face anyway. It's like, why didn't you just get Nicolas Cage for a couple weeks? Let him do a fun fight scene with Batman, and just see Michael Keaton and Nicolas Cage have a scene together. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
And then it's like Michael Keaton, Nicolas Cage, and Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
3 crazy people.
Yeah.
Just going crazy.
Okay. Thinking the CW shows, they've got their baggage, they've got their trashiness, they've got their cheapness in some places. But why people had so much respect for Arrowverse is because, for some reason, the people who weren't running the shows would do things that the people doing the movies just refused to do. They were like, oh, are we ever going to do a Green Arrow Flash? Are you kidding me? We're going to start with a Green Arrow Flash crossover. There's not going to be any question of it. Are we going to do Flashpoint? Obviously. Are we going to do Crisis? Yes, of course we're going to do it. Are we going to get Tom Welling Superman to show up? Yeah, why wouldn't we? Are we dumb? Are we dum-dums?
Literally. But that's the thing. Warner Brothers, they were so scared to do things, and then by the time they finally would do things, they would just be like, oh, okay, well, CW, I know you were like the Arrow, they were going to do the Suicide Squad. And just as they were, like, they put in the work, they were leading up to the Suicide Squad, doing some pieces, they're like, alright, we're about to do Suicide Squad. Then Warner Brothers was like, oh, we have a good idea, we're going to do Suicide Squad. Now, you can't use that anymore. And they just locked them up. And they literally killed them off screen in Arrow. Just because Warner Brothers was like, oh, but we want to use it now. My toy. No, you weren't using it earlier.
Yeah, see, the CW people, it's like, if whatever toys they have, they're going to play with them. They're going to do it. And Warner Brothers will sit there and be like, we don't want to until I don't know, the wind blows a different way,
Yes.
and all of a sudden, well, maybe we should be doing something with all this property we have. Who knows?
Yeah, and like I love like the Arrowverse. Basically, we're like we have our Flash, Green Arrow's going to be our Batman, and Supergirl's going to be our Superman, and they made it work.
They just do it.
And it's like, wow! Like I remember seeing them on screen together.
Yeah.
And it's like these are people.
I don't care how many flaws there are in the Flash, how trashy it can be, how bad it can get. When they crossed over Supergirl, Flash, and Green Arrow, it was the only time I cared about any Justice League in any capacity.
Exactly. Yep. Uh-huh.
Cause that's it. And it was like, man, why is it the people without the means have the interest, and the people with the means have no interest?
Exactly. And I just like there were so many moments they would do this, but it's like they're all just standing around in their costumes with their masks off, talking about their plan. Like a scene that happens in any movie ever, but just seeing it there, it's like just them doing it, and whatever cheap way they were doing, it's like there's no fear here. Where there's no fear.
You know what? All their costumes are good. Green Arrow's costume is good.
Yes.
Supergirl's costume is great.
Yes.
Barry's is variable but always good.
And people they changed the Supergirl costume where at first she had the shirt to the pants. I think it looked better with the pants.
I think they're both good. They're both good.
But I think it looked better.
Yeah.
What else?
Anyway, Michael Keaton's Batman. For a lot of people, that was the selling point of the movie. For me, that was never a huge deal. I never cared that much, and I don't feel like Michael Keaton's got a huge role in the movie.
No.
Only really a bit, kind of.
They literally kind of play all of his scenes in the trailers.
Yeah, wow. And then I feel like
Supergirl had less to do.
The lines, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts, was just...
I feel bad because Dad was like, oh...
Yeah, and I said to you, comparing that to Norman Osborn in No Way Home saying, I'm something of a scientist myself. Now, I want to explain to you, okay?
Equally bad to me.
No. All right, here's why, okay? The original Batman, he's saying it to the Joker, right? And he's, A, posturing, B, trying to get Joker's attention to him, right? So that was the purpose of, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts, all right? And now here, it's just a callback because it means nothing in context. He's like, is that our plan? Yes. Well, if you want to get nuts, it's irrelevant.
Now I already know
entirely,
saying that
right? When Norman Osborn said, I'm something I was saying to myself to Tobey Maguire, he's meeting Peter, who apparently he doesn't see often, I guess. You get the impression, but he knows Peter's really good at science. He wishes his own son was. He's complimenting Peter. He's like, oh, I hear you're really good at science. And he's like, I'm something. He's joking. He's being, jokey, being like, oh, I'm something I said to myself. Obviously, Peter knows he's Norman Osborn.
Right.
The CEO of Oscorp, probably.
And father of my best friend.
Yeah, he's like, obviously, I'm in science. I'm a big name in science. The joke is, right? Whereas, when you come into No Way Home, they are talking about science, okay? He is talking to Peter again.
With the tapping.
He is talking to Peter again, and he's like, he knows he's a scientist, but they don't. And so it's a little joke. Like, I'm actually something of a scientist myself. It's the same purpose, technically, and the same effect.
Don't love it.
It's fine, though. And the nuts one isn't. The Let's Get Nuts isn't fine.
No, it's not that good. I did like the idea of he's a hermit. He has no Alfred. I like the way he tried to explain the multiverse thing.
I like the idea that if Batman's going to meet Time Traveler Universe Hopper, he's going to be like, okay, I'll engage with that on a intellectual level, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of being like, you from another universe? What?
Also, it's like, well, what better has he got to do? He's just sitting there eating spaghetti all the time.
Yeah, but it's just not like, oh, I'm so caught off guard. What could this mean? He's just like, I'll deal with what I'm given when I'm given it. Okay.
Yeah. What else? I thought Supergirl was cool. There were some cool, immigrant-y undertones they were touching with the Supergirl that I thought was kind of cool. I also love my favorite part with Supergirl was when she's basically sitting there dying in that cell or whatever, sun deprived, and then Barry saves her, and then she's like, why'd you save me even though I'm not the person you expected me to be? And he was like, because you needed help. It's like, oh, like, just good. It's like, and that bit of compassion is what gets Supergirl to be like, okay, I'll help you save.
Yeah, I mean, also her suit has a symbol on it that means hope. It's like, how far are you gonna go? How far are you gonna go away from where you're needed when you're wearing a symbol that says hope on it?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
too.
yeah, you're gonna come back. You're gonna come back.
Yeah, I like the, I don't know.
Supergirl, Batman, every character in the movie, the world in the movie, the antagonist, all become irrelevant by the end, though.
Yeah.
They all become completely irrelevant. I mean, like, any line they had, any interest, any motivation, any action they committed becomes entirely irrelevant by the end. And that is pretty unfortunate, and that's where the writing of the movie is the messiest.
Yeah. It's like they had a good hour and a half in the middle, but the beginning and the end are so clunky they don't know. They're just like, I don't know. Here. I don't know.
It's like, what does Supergirl want out of life? Doesn't matter anymore. She's ultra super 100 times dead.
Dead. It's so stupid. Like, literally, like...
Zod doesn't matter.
Zod never
The planet
mattered.
doesn't matter. Young Barry doesn't matter. The evil Young Barry monster thing doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like, oh, also guess F. Barry's both his parents this time in the entire world.
See, what I'm saying, like, that Young Barry turned monster is supposed to sort of be the antagonist, I guess, maybe, but isn't really. The only antagonist really, I guess, is Destiny or Fate, but they don't, like, say that in a interesting or artistic way. They play the movie out straight as if it's person v person conflict when it's not. It's person v fate.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I mean, Zod wasn't supposed to be like a massive, like, obviously you're not supposed to be like, oh, because it's just Zod again.
Yeah, sure.
But they could have done something more to make it feel like, oh, this matters.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know why this is what I thought of. There was recently, you keep hearing about a game called Dead by Daylight. Doesn't matter. What matters is there's a game that was like Dead by Daylight, but it was Dragon Ball Z themed. And so basically, you have to go around and do some task, and you're playing a regular person, and someone else is playing one of the main villains from Dragon Ball Z, so either Cell or Frieza or Majin Buu. And the idea is, you're a regular person. If they see you, you will cease to exist. So you have to be sneaky until you can do certain things, and then summon a hero who can actually fight them, right? So I feel like that, like, if you're going to have the Flash end up in a situation where he's up against Zod, Zod is just supposed to be terrifying, and that's it. It's just like, oh no, I can't deal with that. I either avoid it or I die. And they were kind of like that. He was like, we either get Superman or we lose. That was it. And I was like, that's cool. I'm good with that being the conflict. That's cool. Like, you realize nobody else can deal with Zod. You have to get Superman involved or you're dead. That's cool.
But he does kill a Kryptonian.
But then it becomes irrelevant. And also, he does kill a Kryptonian. And I feel like you might be able to step up with Zod. Now it might have been cool to see you try.
Yeah, it would have been. It
would have been cool if it was like, if Supergirl's going to die and Batman's going to die, I'll have to take on Zod myself.
Also, you got Michael Shannon, who's really intimidating, and cool Zod. Like, let him have a moment to be like...
Get that crud off his face. Get it away.
Yeah.
His face is scary. Get his face in there.
And it's like... He should be like, I will find him with a Flash.
Someone's running really fast. I will find him. Yeah, no, man. If Flash had to sing and throw down with Zod, that would have been pretty cool. That would have been worth having Zod around just for that. I want to see Flash have to fight somebody who, because they insist he's only super fast and not super strong, he would have trouble fighting. That'd be cool.
But he could phase and just put his
see, that's the thing. Hearts. Really, Flash will never really make sense. Okay, that's fine. Because Flash really should be a god that nobody could touch. But,
yeah.
But, I mean, it is what it is. Like, that's the thing with every super speed character. It's like, you're either committing or you're not, and you're not.
But that's the thing. So, another thing I'm trying to mention earlier, but we got on a tangent. I wish they would just have him run. Like, actually run on a treadmill and see them legs moving. Because the whole kind of, like, skip skiing, running... It was funny in that one scene when Barry loses his powers and he's trying to do that same skip skiing running, but he can't go fast.
Yeah, that is funny. They were like, Ezra, do the same thing we've been having you do for years. But we're not gonna do anything in post. It's just gonna stay that. And it's just like, I'll do it.
He's flopping around with his
arms going all over the
crazy.
place. That was great.
That was awesome.
In the one of the most standout episodes of the Flash show, where it's a nuke is going off and they stop time and they have to figure out how to solve it. I think it's really fun. It's a small detail. I think it's fun that the Flashes in that episode, they keep referring to what they're doing as running, even though we're not watching them run at all.
Yeah.
They are walking, standing still, and talking, and they go, I'm getting tired. I can't keep running. Just referring to activating their speed power as running. I was like, that's cool.
That is cool. And they actually let Grant go, like, even though they'll probably reuse every running thing he's ever done, he ran on a treadmill, and they just put him in front of a green screen. Yeah. He's running. Just have him run.
That episode was so good.
That's one of the best episodes of the whole show.
Yeah.
And that's a later season episode.
That was an episode where it was like, writers, can we, I don't know, let's go to work.
I just want to explain it really quick. So essentially it's like there's a nuke about to go off in like this truck or something, and Barry, he doesn't stop time. He's running, and the whole episode takes place in 8 minutes, supposedly.
No. Well, I think it might have been less. I think
It might be in 1 minute.
I think the nuke already went off. That's when he started running.
No way.
Yeah, I think the nuke is that's what he can't disarm it because it has gone off. So
right.
Yeah. So
That's right.
and as the time goes on, you start to see the explosion come out. Like it's not about to go off. It had already gone off.
He has 8 minutes. Maybe he has like eight minutes before the impact hits the people.
Right.
Around.
It might have been like 8 seconds, like in real time. I don't know. He's going so fast that time has stopped. Like nobody is moving, and he has to use every tool at his disposal, which includes the people around him. He asks Cisco what to do because at this point in the show, he had established a power that he can touch someone and vibrate them so that they're in the Speed Force.
Yeah.
So but like he explains, and they explain it when did they introduce the power, that it's extremely exhaustive for him to do that. So he's like, if I keep doing that to keep you involved, and I run out of steam, we die. So I have to pick and choose when I bring someone into the Speed Force to ask them what to do. So he's like, only a couple of times he brings a few people in,
and even then they can't be in that state for long because
it's like this is the most exhaustive thing that any of the Flashes can do, and it's like, so you have a time limit here. Figure out how to stop a nuke that's already gone off.
Tell me what I need to do before we all die.
And they established Barry as being, I guess, the fastest or like maybe the most endurance Flash, because the other ones, they just stop. That was so cool. When they get too tired, Jessie Quick, she gets too tired, she just stops. Because now she is moving at regular speed.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with Jay Garrick. It's like when they get too tired, he just stops. They stop running.
Like, that episode is one of those, like, it's so creative and cheap. Like,
Yo, my God, it's so cheap. It costs you nothing to do that. It was like, listen, every actor, we got everybody in today. You're all standing still for this episode. And it's going to be the best episode.
Now, they could have done something like that for a Flash movie where, like, the last 30 minutes is something like that and save boko bucks of money. Like, they could have taken at least half the budget and put it back in the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to acknowledge how cheap that is.
Yeah, see, I always want to keep acknowledging, thinking, Flash show is a little trashy. It's very trashy.
There's a lot of trashy,
very trashy,
epic moments, too.
It can be very bad, but it's the only time anyone who's cared about the Flash has written for the Flash.
Yes.
It's the only time anybody who cares about the Justice League has made a Justice League thing happen. It was an Arrowverse.
Like, the first season of the Flash, I think, is a perfect season. Like, there are still filler episodes, case per week episodes.
Yeah, it's case per week, but formula show.
It has the energy of a fresh new show.
It does have energy in it.
Yeah. And you do feel the energy in some of the later seasons start to wane, but anytime there is a little juice in there, you can tell when everybody's like, we're excited about this.
Yeah, also, and maybe this is an age thing and an era thing, I feel like if you can, pick your nose up at the CW shows and be like, this is very trashy, it's like, good. You've been spoiled good. Because we have such decent superhero content now. We have the MCU now. Whereas if we had gotten the Flash CW in the past, like
it would have won awards.
At the time of Smallville, it would have been a culture-defining experience.
Yeah, people would have been like, yeah, but don't you remember it would have been like,
yeah, Smallville was pretty trashy.
Smallville was that though.
It was case per week. It was a little trashy, but it is highly positively remembered. I mean, it was at a time you weren't going to get that from anyone else.
And Smallville's the reason why all those CW shows even exist.
And Smallville's the perfect like little encapsulation of Warner Brothers isn't going to do it, but they also don't really want to let you do it because they're not going to let you put Tom Welling in a Superman suit.
It's literally just showing the writers juggle and try to be like, how can we say Superman without saying Superman for 10 years? The fact that he never once
My God.
puts on a suit.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
The only people who want to do a Superman thing are the people who aren't allowed to. The only people who want to do a good Flash thing are the people who aren't going to be allowed to do a movie. They're only going to do a CW show.
And hopefully that changes. Hopefully with the new regime and all this, things like this will start to make sense. But I don't know. You kind of make me want to just start the CW shows.
I mean, I think they're just trashy enough for me to be like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I know. But I do kind of want to watch that one episode.
This is why Kevin Feige has been so important. Because it was like, what if somebody who was a fan of both the content and the medium was in charge?
But also, he's probably one of the only people in the position to get to that point. Like, he started as, like, an assistant producer, like, you know, like a low-tier person on Spider-Man. And then he got up to the point where it's like, all right, but what if we did this? And then he got some people behind him. It took him a long time to get there. And, you know, one could argue James Gunn has done a similar thing in a way. Like, he's climbed through the ranks to get to a position to where he can make these big types of decisions. So we just gotta wait and see if all that will start to fall in line.
See, the Flash movie would have been a great time to Grant Gustin, Tom Welling, anything and everything. Anything and everything for sure. And it's like only just now could they be bothered or persuaded to do Michael Keaton, George Clooney, and Nick Cage. Like, only now could the 50-year-olds amongst them be convinced to dabble in some cool cameo.
They honestly should have just done, when they were officially are deciding to nuke everything, they should have done a Crisis on Infinite. Like, just do it.
100%.
And then you can either A, decide to keep some elements, or B, nuke it all. Nuke the CW.
Yeah.
Nuke these movies. Get Grant Gustin, get those kids in here. Get the Snyderverse people in. Have them all, like, Infinity War, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah. And I mean, I do want to say, I don't 100% blame, if it's, you know, that could be difficult planning-wise. And James Gunn probably has a lot on his plate already. So, it's like, yeah, ideally, if you could have done some cool Crisis thing that led to your new universe, would have been great. If you can't, because it's a lot of work. I mean, obviously, you know,
a lot of work, and also we have a handful of movies that we're done with, but we don't really want to play out, but we gotta just get out there somehow and make a little money off of. Hardly any, though, apparently. Like, actually none. They've made zero. Like, The Flash made its production budget back. There's not a goddamn chance on this planet it's going to make its marketing budget back. Shazam made no money, basically, period. And Aquaman, I do not... Like, for all the things that they've been selling off to other streaming services or other studios or just straight up deleting to save money on, why are these... Like, I love Shazam. I kind of want to keep Shazam. But The Flash and Aquaman, I don't know how... You can get rid of, like, a Batgirl, because Batgirl was supposed to be a thing, and then they canceled it. How can you have that finish and cancel it and save money, but not do the same thing with these two? I don't know. And also, like I told in the beginning, like, Aquaman's gone through 3 reshoots. 3. Probably spanning a course of, like, 3 or 4 years now. And it's only just now getting a cut that they think is good? It's like, what? Maybe you should have a cut that was good the first time.
Gotta talk about gaslighting, because they tried to gaslight us to think this Flash movie was going to be a genre-defining spectacle.
Yeah.
It now, I think we can say without a doubt, it was a concentrated and conscious effort to gaslight the universe. Okay.
Yeah.
They're like, this is the superhero movie. This is it. James Gunn, Tom Cruise. I heard what? Like, what? Why are people what?
Also, I think, like I was talking about earlier with the Barbenheimer thing, it's like they're trying to build a word of mouth that you can't do on purpose.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, oh, The Flash is the best in the world. They try to have Tom Cruise be like, I saw The Flash, it's really good. Tom Cruise, they try to have do this. They're like, but it's not just how it works. And I don't know how you make a Barbenheimer happen. That's just sort of like a freak of nature.
Yeah.
But you need something kind of with that, like,
I'm still curious.
air.
I'm still curious if it's gonna happen though. Like, in terms of the money it makes.
The Barbenheimer?
Yeah, I'm curious to see if.
I think Barbie is going to do spectacular this weekend.
Why?
Because I see a lot of people. First of all, the girls get to play this time. That's a terrible way to say it.
Yeah, it is.
But I mean, like, it's a female demographic-y more movie. So, and we haven't really had a lot of those this summer yet.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's Barbie.
So. Okay, girls don't have to play a Barbie. They can play with anything. Okay.
Yeah, well, there's probably more women in this Effin movie than there has been in the movie so far.
Well, there you go. If there's just a bunch of actresses in it, but yeah, like I mean, obviously Barbie's just it's just a cultural feminine icon. It's not necessarily actually gonna.
Well, and also I think that's what the movie is aiming to do, is like reclaiming Barbie and making it more inclusive to all types of women and everything and all this.
Sure.
And,
well,
and also commenting on what Barbie was and maybe trying to like I said.
I don't know how much of the excitement is real as a thing. I don't know if in 3 weeks we'll be saying they gaslit us about Barbie.
Yeah,
and Oppenheimer. Who knows how much of it is real hype?
That's true. Well,
they use bots. They use people giving ridiculous testaments to quality. They use everything to be like, oh, it's gonna be big.
That's true, but what I'm saying is different though. Whereas anytime someone says something good about The Flash, you could maybe feel like Warner Brothers greased their palm a little bit. Whereas with Barbie and Oppenheimer, it's not people thinking they're going to be good. Like, people think they're going to be good for a multitude of different reasons, especially for each of them. But the fact that they were both coming out at the same time, literally the same day, and how vastly different they are, that just made it funny to people being like, oh, what if people did this as a double feature?
Did it though?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Those memes started when people found out.
But marketing does use memes though, and I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny that Barbie and Oppenheimer are coming out at the same time. I
do.
So for all I know, you've been gaslit and you've been made to think it's funny, and the meme was a marketing tactic the entire time. And it's entirely possible nobody actually thinks it's funny. The people who are upvoting it and liking it and sharing it, just more of the marketing team, more bots.
That's true. It could be all fake.
It could be every single person you see on social media is fake, and you're in the Matrix, and you don't know it right now.
Could be, but I also think Barbie is. I mean, it's PG-13, so it's not quite a family movie.
Yeah.
But I still think, despite that, people are going to take their kids.
I do think that it felt fake with Flash. It always felt fake with Flash.
It always felt fake with Flash.
And it doesn't feel fake right now with Barbie and Oppenheimer, but you don't know. It's possible.
We don't know.
Our feelings could be mismatched.
But also, I feel like the thing is, like, Oppenheimer, Chris Nolan, even if it's a bad movie...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even if it's a bad movie, Chris Nolan's not messing around.
Yeah, I guess both movies have a star power to it that it's like...
Star power and directors
hard to imagine it failing.
Yeah.
I mean, people made a big deal about Michael Keaton being in The Flash, though. But also...
But also, they inflated what Michael Keaton's role was in the movie for all the marketing. Mm-hmm. They made it seem like he was... Which, really, what they should have done with the Flash movie was lean a little bit harder on the Ezra moments and put those moments in the trailer. And maybe... Or maybe show him lose his power. Like
that's if they had faith in any of that, which I imagine they didn't.
And
I imagine they had, even before all the Ezra Miller stuff, I doubt anybody had faith that they could sell and pitch a Ezra Miller buddy cop experience.
I feel like they could have... they could have done... Like, I don't know. The Flashpoint thing... Like, I'm just thinking of a trailer that they could have made differently. Like, the idea of the Flashpoint thing, you set that up in the trailer, and then the idea of him losing his powers and him being stuck, you can set that up in the trailer, and him dealing with himself, you set that up in the trailer. And I think that in itself could make a good trailer that could be like, you want to go see this.
I think they wouldn't dare, though.
Well, I don't think they would ever do it, but if they had, they might have gone off better with it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, we're wrapping up. That's it. We saw The Flash. It was okay. I don't know if I'll ever... That's the thing, though. Do you feel like you're ever going to watch it again?
Probably never on purpose. But I might look up clips of it, or I'll watch reactions to it, because there are fun moments.
Yeah, there are fun moments. If it's on... like you said, watch clips of it, see if it, I'll spend another 5 or 10 minutes casually with it, but I don't know if I would watch the entire thing from the back again. Alright, goodbye, KUHS 102.5 FM, the Effin Nerd Show, goodbye, like, follow, subscribe, all this, whatever, goodbye.